But to show you what can happen to something so valuable under certain conditions, some scientists once performed an experiment. And so they took a small gold bar and a small silver bar, tied them both tightly together, and left them alone in a room for some time. Well, when the scientists went back to retrieve the two bars, what do you think they found? Well, what they found was that some of the silver had actually transferred over to the gold, and some of the gold to the silver. In essence, the two bars became part of one another. Now that simple illustration really does well to teach us a fact of life when it comes to choosing our friends. And the fact is this: whomever we choose to spend our time with, we become like them. And there's even a Bible proverb that says something very similar. I invite you to take your copy of the Bible. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 13 and verse 20. Proverbs 13, and note the words found here in verse 20. It says, "He that is walking with wise persons will become wise, but he that is having dealings with the stupid ones will fare badly." A very clear counsel here, isn't it? The Bible tells us very plainly that if we spend our time with wise people, well, we become wise. But it says if we spend our time with stupid ones, did you know not that we will become stupid? No, the Bible says that we will fare badly. And why is that? What does the Bible mean by that expression, stupid ones? Well, in the Bible, that expression, stupid ones, it does not refer to a person's intelligence. So we can take heart. Our friends do not all have to be rocket scientists. But what the Bible is referring to here by stupid ones are those who choose to ignore the Bible's wise counsel. So we can understand it. We choose to spend our time with, we choose as our friends, those who don't value the good words, the wisdom found in the Bible, and we can expect to fare badly. In essence, we will absorb those negative traits and lose our value in the eyes of God. But you see, that's how the truth sets us free. The truth helps us because as we study it and we learn it, we apply it, well, we're given two things. We're given the incentive to stand up for what's right, even when we're surrounded by those who don't. And secondly, we're given the strength to break free from bad associations. Now, this isn't easy. But for any who have ever had to fight to change your association, well, you know the struggle that's involved. But there's a clear contrast, however, between our former associates in the world and our spiritual family. Now, it's true, when we come into God's organization, it's not as if we all have the same personality or we all have the same backgrounds. No, we're different. But we love Jehovah. We love the truth. And we love one another. And that in itself is what unites us. And it's for that reason, no matter where we may be from, no matter where we may go, when we're among Jehovah's people, well, our brothers view and treat us as family. Now, to testify to the truthfulness of that, I'd like to introduce you to a sister, Sister Raquel Howe. And she is a regular pioneer in the Northeast Baltimore congregation. So, Sister Howe, if you could first tell us, how did you first learn the truth?
Well, Brother Johnson, I was raised in the truth, but I didn't make the truth my own. I got caught up with bad association, and I always wanted to sing, but my mother was a baptized witness, and she wanted me to pursue spiritual goals. So when I was 13, I decided to move with my father, who was disfellowship.
Okay, so you were young, 13 years old, left home, you wanted to become a singer. How did things go from there?
Well, I started pursuing a career in music, and things actually started going well. 2 times we were offered a record deal, so from a worldly standpoint, I was doing pretty well, but from a spiritual standpoint, I was doing terrible.
Okay, so when you say that things were going terribly spiritually, can you tell us a little more about what you mean?
Well, the music industry has a very cutthroat and immoral environment. You're very disposable. You're in one day and you're out the next. One music producer even told me that if I wanted to be famous, I would have to do more than sing. He told me I would have to sell my soul to the devil. When he said that really hit home because I was raised as a witness. Not long after that, my mother died of breast cancer, and losing my mother was the last straw. I had to return to Jehovah.
Okay, so difficult time, obviously. So, sister, how were you able to return to the truth?
Well, Brother Johnson, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do because I lived to perform. But I could really see the contrast between my friends in the world and my friends in the truth. After my mother died, my friends in the world stayed around for about a week, and only one of them showed up to her funeral. But my friends in the truth really proved to be my family.
Okay. So what was the contrast then that you saw between your spiritual family and your former associates in the world?
With my father being disfellowshipped and my mother being deceased, I was really in need of a family. So I prayed to Jehovah that one sister in particular would want to study with me. And later on, I found out that she was praying the same thing. She started my studies and I began to progress. That same sister would stay on the phone with me sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning just listening to me cry. Another family took me in and they helped me with rides to the meeting, they helped me with my son, and they took me to work sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning. The one sister told me that she knows she's not my natural mother, but that she would be there for me until I see my mother again in the resurrection. This really helped me to break free from bad association, and it helped me to see that it was Jehovah that was drawing me, and it was him who loved me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being willing to share that. Well, we've seen the effort that's required to change our association. But what must we do to remain free from bad associates, especially when the pressure is on, when those around us are trying to get us to conform to be like them? Well, the first thing we must do is strengthen our identity. Our identity. That's who we are and what we stand for. We must never forget the privilege it is to be a part of Jehovah's clean people. We are witnesses of the Almighty, the creator of both heaven and earth. We are God's fellow workers, illuminators of the world, and at the same time, we know who we are not, and we are not part of this world. And as we strengthen that identity, then we'll become rooted. We won't be like a fallen leaf that blows with the ever-changing winds of the system. No, we will be like a tree, rooted, able to withstand even powerful windstorms of pressure. Additionally, something else that can help us to keep up the fight is having goals. You see, when our life has goals or when we have direction or purpose, that helps us because we're more likely to avoid people or situations that will hinder us from accomplishing what we've set out to do. Finally, we must remember that our fight is not alone. The Christ assured us that we would have something as a protection. I invite you to take your copy of the Bible. Let's look at the Bible book of John, chapter 15. And note the words of the Master at verse 12. John 15 and verse 12, here it reads, "This is my commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. No one has loved greater than this, that someone should surrender his soul in behalf of his friends." Well, Jesus assured us during these last days we would have the support of our brothers. And what a remarkable brotherhood it is. We're surrounded by well over 7 million people who love us and are willing to die for us. Indeed, this symposium has helped us to see how the truth sets us free. We've learned how the truth sets us free from a life alienated from God. It sets us free from a bad conscience. It sets us free from false beliefs. It sets us free from bad habits. It sets us free from hopelessness, and we've even learned how it sets us free from bad associates. May all of us rejoice that we have found the truth, and the truth truly has set us free.